the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family. It may not be a pleasant night for you, but I'll bid you a pleasant night nonetheless, and profusely apologize for what was definitely a technical glitch right here in the studio. But I've always learned never to give up, You never beat a failure if you don't try. And my grandmama always used to tell me, or always told me back then as well, that it is better late than never. A teacher told me, no, you can't say that. It's better to be late than never. That's the proper thing to say. But nonetheless, I want to bid you a very pleasant night, St. Kitts and Nevis. And in fact, I should say a very pleasant night to the world, because we are on the World Wide Web. I am really, I do apologize for my good people in Europe, who, especially in England, where they actually stay up. It's morning time. It's what's now? It's about 1 o'clock, and you miss your bedtime to listen to Straight Talk, and I thank you for that. But my Straight Talk family, welcome to you wherever you are in the world, in St. Kitts and Nevis, throughout the entire Caribbean region, in the Kittitian and the Division diaspora, in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, and all over North America. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. And we are here with you. We continue every Monday and Thursday with our public service program to facilitate and promote free expression on all issues of national interest. We've lost about 35 minutes. We'll get it back if you so desire it. I'll be here until tomorrow morning if you want me to be. That's what service is all about, my Straight Talk family. And the first timers, if you're joining me for the first time, we welcome you and inform you again that on this program we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks. I must thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation each night. And I'm happy to be with you on yet another occasion, my Straight Talk family. And I always remind you, I must remind you, I find it imperative, it's a must that I remind you that as your host, I really continue to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. As I always am reminded, as I said, by the words of this hymn, I love it. I really love it. It goes like this. We are called to be God's prophets. We are called to be God's prophets, speaking for truth and right, standing firm for godly justice and bringing evil things to light. Let us seek the courage we need. If we need the courage, let's seek it. Go to Almighty God for the higher calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing. What we're doing, yes, we are doing God's will. My Straight Talk family, absolutely nothing is watered down on this program to make it interesting. We don't exaggerate. It's not about sensationalism or creating excitement at the expense of accuracy, my Straight Talk family. But we are joined together as a people and with our people across the entire federation, across the world, in the diaspora. And some of us we have met, some we may never meet. We will agree on the positions of truth that are advanced, and some, obviously, they just would disagree. And that's fine, because we promote diversity. We promote different views. But let's not ever start to become disagreeable. Let us disagree, as I said, but we won't ever become disagreeable, my Straight Talk family. Yes, we had a little difficulty, but we are here. Let's have some fun, even though when we hear the truth. We normally have our observations in review, and our observation before that, I need to recognize or put right an oversight, because some time ago, last two programs, I omitted to note the death of Levi Weeks, our first Calypso monarch, the national Calypso monarch, King Entertainer, as he is known. And we understand he was memorialized in the U.S. on the weekend gone, and he will be memorialized in St. Kitts sometime soon. But we extend condolences to the King Entertainer family and fans, and the Straight Talk family. I also heard of the passing of Fema Johnson. Euphema, I got reminded, is her right name. Euphema Johnson. Fema, we know her from over there in Sebastian Street in Newtown. Moved to Market Street, that famous fish fry, or Mary fish fry. And so we extend condolences to her husband and her son, Mary. And from Connery, we also learn of the passing of Tully. I think his first name is Macleo Tully. And we extend condolences to his wife, his daughter, his brother, MacMahon I call him. But we trust and hope that we'll understand that death is just a process, and may they all rest in eternal peace. And for tonight, our thesis, our dissertation tonight, I have titled Kleptocrats on Both Sides of the Narrows. And this I will discuss after my observations in review. And our observations in review are an integral part of Straight Talk. And many look forward to our observations. And after which we normally move into our thesis. And following the thesis, I will then include your calls, your emails, as mentioned earlier, so as to allow full participation in our program. And it's a time when we highlight the current issues and do some reflection. We then ask a few questions such as, what was accomplished? How has it helped others? What has changed since? And what can be expected next? What new we have learned as a people? And our first observation relates to public safety, my Straight Talk family. Public safety is a great concern in this country. Again, more so since the coming of this new administration. It's a concern to every citizen and resident of St. Kitts Nevis. And coming out of a challenging year, 2023, the Federation sadly, and I say sadly, registered 31 murders. And some get upset when Straight Talk provide the facts. But like it or not, the facts are that under Terence Michael Drew, for his 17 or 18 months in office, 39 murders have been registered. And he promised otherwise. The year 2024, this year, has not started good. And in the last week or so, there have been several shootings. Thankfully, no murders. The National Security Advisor, my Straight Talk family, Wusi Rollins, made this promise to us, my Straight Talk family. He said this.
In 5 years, you will not recognize St. Kitts and Nevis because it will be such a wonderful place. All of this stuff we're talking about is going to be a thing of the past. Just take one look at it. If we had one murder a month for 2024, as terrible as it sounds, we will only have 12.
Only have 12. Well, let's hope his predictions are accurate, and we wish him well in his sojourn as National Security Advisor. Good saxman, my brother, Lionel Wusi Rollins. And our second observation, I have to recognize that the second cruise pier continues to facilitate what they call the cruise ship parade in St. Kitts and Nevis. We've had over the season our what I call 4 ship days. And the utilization factor of that second cruise pier, I posit the view it's about 95% or higher. Yet you will hear from the other side that Team Unity administration did nothing in 7 years. Look at that piece of infrastructure, my Straight Talk family. That infrastructure, accommodating one of the world's largest ships afloat, the Symphony of the Seas. And in the next week or two, we'll have the Icon of the Seas going alongside that pier. And you'll hear the seers say that Team Unity did nothing. And you know, my Straight Talk family, I think it's a question of enmity or envy, as some people would say. Because, recall my Straight Talk family, that I was trying to get that resolution up, but I seem as to have missed it. Somehow it's not loaded. Why? That resolution that was tabled in Parliament for the second cruise spear. You know, we like to provide the evidence, what's gone wrong here, my Straight Talk family. But what's happened, my Straight Talk family, is that the second cruise spear, an attempt was made to construct a second cruise spear, and it was failed under the Douglas Labour administration. They failed us. But under the Team Unity administration, we did that. So when they said that nothing was done in 7 years, when we look at the Old Road Bay and the second cruise pier, like I said, when we look at the bus terminals constructed, the traffic signals or traffic lights installed, our government was one of transformation, infrastructure transformation, a transformative government we can boast about, my Straight Dog family. And our third and final observation I'll cite for tonight, my Straight Dog family, is I played a sound bite on my last program, and I may have upset a lot of people. I played this sound bite, my Straight Dog family.
Our main promotion hub, the St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agency, has used up considerable efforts and money to consolidate the promotion work that I have been doing as a minister across the globe. There's no area of the globe I have not touched over the last few months, because I am determined that the world must know that St. Kitts and Nevis has a new face, using the face of Douglas to reconnect with those who we have not seen for the last 7-8 years.
I was told, my Straight Dog family, that I upset the Jew camp, and I upset his advisor, Austin Appleton Edinburgh, who in fact, I am told, is the new face of Labour and not Douglas. Well, that's debatable. But I was reminded that Terence Drew has made it abundantly clear that he will not walk in the shadow of Douglas. So here he has posted a nice picture with his advisor and Douglas in the shadow. So I am told I have to correct that, and Denzel Douglas is not the new face of Labour. And those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Dog family. But that was brought to my attention, so I decided I'll correct it just for my Labour friends, as I call them. And moving right into my thesis, as I stated earlier, I have titled such Kleptocrats on both sides of the narrows. And this title, this caption came to mind as I listened to the 2024 budget presentation by the Minister of Finance in the Nevis Island administration. Then 1 week later, I heard the Federal Minister of Finance, who we know by now gave a marathon budget address. I was taken aback, nonetheless, by the content of both presentations, but it was the outburst from the latter that caught my attention as he tried to convince us that we have been long living in a system filled with crookedness. Dr. Drew tried to make the point that we were living in a federation of unrestrained political corruption, or in a kleptocracy. And in a kleptocracy, we are ruled by thieves. To use common language, yes. You said that we are ruled by thieves. He said this, my straight dog family.
We dealt with corruption, systemic corruption, deep. The more you dig is the more you uncover. You can't believe every institution under threat. It hurts when you see tens of millions going down tubes. Programs were used to thief money. Let them speak out and talk the things, you know.
But let's just talk the things tonight, my straight dog family. Because the chief policy maker, Dr. Jew, used the federal budget process to quote-unquote politic my straight dog family. So too the snake Mark Brantley. Instead of establishing spending priorities, also to identify the source of revenue that was required to pay for those activities. The size and scope of those decisions make the budget process one of the most important and complex exercises in public policy making. Dr. Drew, with his announcements about increasing salary and wages, tried to make it appear as if the 2024 budget process will boost the income of the poor people. But really, the increase in the minimum wage, for example, I'm happy that my people are getting it, but it will not enhance their purchasing power at the supermarket or the grocery stores. The disgraced Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin touted that they have made their mark in society by passing several pieces of good governance legislation. He referred to the Anti-Corruption Act and the amendments to the Integrity in Public Life Act, as well as the Freedom of Information Act, said the Attorney General.
The good governance legislation. This is something that has been very important. This was a message that was given out on the campaign trail, and we are proud that we have made it a reality, and we have stamped our mark in ensuring that we eradicate corruption from our society by the passage of the Anti-Corruption Act, the amendments to the Integrity in Public Life Act, as well as the Freedom of Information Act.
What nonsense, I can hear you say. Pure gibberish, as all they did, was to ensure the secrecy of their corrupt practices based on their performance thus far. Anyone listening to Garth Lucien Wilkin would believe that we now have in St. Kitts Nevis a CPA, I call it. Yes, a corruption-protected area. But in fact, we have a kleptocracy, as we are ruled by thieves on both sides of the narrows. Thieving, to use colloquial language like Dr. Drew, is rampant on both sides of the narrows. But we are afraid to speak about it. Why are we afraid? Well, I submit tonight that the thieving will not stop unless we send one of them, we send somebody to jail. If you find me thieving, then jail me, jail patches. What I am saying tonight, my people, unless we send one of them to 1840, this kleptocracy, to use a nice word, or this unrestrained political corruption in St. Kitts Nevis would never stop. We will always be ruled by thieves. Let's look at event planning for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, for example. While in opposition, we all know that it was done in the past by the slow student. But now the party is in government. Ask the questions. 1, who is doing the event planning? 2, who is doing the job of decorating, whether at the government headquarters or the Prime Minister's gala? In whose name are the invoices for payment made? The student or the wife of a minister? These are pertinent questions to ask my straight dog family. And if we don't ask these questions, how would the thieving stop? We have a deputy prime minister we call a slow student, who at one stage in his career managed the infamous People's Empowerment Program, or PEP, as it is popularly known. Yes, he managed this program.
Jeffrey has been the manager of that infamous People's Employment Program. Jeffrey has been the manager of that infamous People's Employment Program.
Yes, not infamous, Marco, not this singer you know. Douglas said infamous. Listen to him closely.
Jeffrey has been the manager of that infamous People's Employment Program.
Yes, Jeffrey Hanley was the manager of that infamous People's Empowerment Program. He became well known for some bad deeds that were committed by its management or its manager. Under the management of the slow student Jeffrey Hanley, over $2 million in transactions were conducted with his nephew's company in Florida for procurement of goods. I have the information. And well-known journalist Valty Thomas, may his soul rest in peace, but he has gone to his grave. But Valty never got an answer to his question. My straight dog family never got an answer to this question.
In the past 4 weeks, there's some allegations that's been made that close to $2 million was transferred into an account during the time of the Labour Party administration, when one Dr. Hanley was in charge of the PEP program. Is there any truth to that? Or is there any evidence there for that?
The third Prime Minister spoke to this irregularity at PEP. Remember, he said this.
I gather that I didn't answer the PEP question. Just to say, yes, there is information that has been made available that there has been irregularity with respect to the PEP program. I am not at liberty now to talk quantum or persons. Safe to say that we are doing the necessary follow-through on some of the information. We have had persons come forward and said that items intended for PEP went into event planning and other activities. So we are looking at those, but it is still too soon. I am also aware that very early in the life of PEP, the Accountant General Office did in fact had cause, based on certain outcry, to conduct an internal audit on the management of PEP. And that report is being reviewed also, and at the appropriate time, more information can be made available regarding the functioning of PEP.
I saw the information, my straight dog family. I have the information. And I was disappointed that corrective action was not taken. No action was taken. But there's also a famous labor lawyer, not born in St. Kitts, once accused of banging water to come here. And please, I am not being insular, not for one moment, but I cannot call the lawyer's name, simply because the matter was settled out of court and there is a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA, which I will not attempt to violate. For that reason, it is sufficient to say that this famous lawyer misappropriated millions of dollars belonging to one of the shareholders when he was secretary of this particular company in St. Kitts Nevis. Now, lo and behold, under this Drew Labour administration, the well-known lawyer transitioned himself into being what can be called the final arbiter in all CBI matters. This famous lawyer has ultimate authority in approving CBI projects worth billions of dollars, my street dog family. You understand what we are saying? But has time smoothed out his cookery or his crookedness, we may ask? Can we, like the Bible instructs us, can we allow him to go, therefore, and make disciples in our federation? Is the switch being flipped to create an outcome-based morality? Or is he placed there to maintain a kind of moral equilibrium, beg your pardon, balance, so that he gives money to charity or certain party activities, but skimps or uses less money on the tip at dinner? But bad people can do good deeds, they say. And there are many examples of people who have committed terrible acts, but have also done good things. People from all the world. For instance, Adolf Hitler, we have read, passed laws to protect animals. You've heard about Ted Bundy. He worked at a suicide hotline. And Al Capone opened free soup kitchens in Chicago. However, it's important to note that doing a good deed does not absolve anyone or someone of their past actions. The current set of politicians in the federal cabinet would, however, like us to believe that they are victims of their time. But this is totally incorrect. Furthermore, these women and men in government seem to want to find excuses, even though they boasted about making their mark in society by passing the Anti-Corruption Act and amending the Integrity in Public Life Act, as well as the Freedom of Information Act. The disgraced Attorney General, Garth Lucian Wilkin, have suggested that it has to do with paying ministers well. Do you believe that, my Straight Talk family? It has to do, he said, with paying ministers well. Because they want to increase their salaries, no doubt. So he's saying that ministers must be paid well. My Straight Dog family, do you buy into that theory? He said to discourage corruption, you have to pay ministers well.
In order to discourage ministers being corrupt, they should be paid well. Yes, you're doing a public service. However, you should be able to take care of your family. But it should also be reasonable so that you can satisfy your obligations. And when the person comes with the potential bribe, you can tell them, no, I don't want that.
What? Garth Lucian Wilkin gave up a fat salary for political power, and now in public service he's not being paid well and cannot take care of his family. Is Garth Lucian Wilkin saying that he cannot satisfy his obligations and he would take a bribe? Is he saying that? Listen to him carefully again.
In order to discourage ministers being corrupt, they should be paid well. Yes, you're doing a public service. However, you should be able to take care of your family. But it should also be reasonable so that you can satisfy your obligations. And when the person comes with the potential bribe, you can tell them, no, I don't want that.
Now, what he has said, persons will come with bribes. Now, Garth Lucien Wilkin is suggesting that higher salaries must be paid to ministers in order to combat corruption in St. Kitts Nevis. But what is the cost to do so? And there is no empirical evidence to support that view. As a matter of fact, the available body of information indicating whether his belief or proposition is true or valid has thus far relied on small data sets from the 1980s, the late 1980s or 1990s, 40 years ago. Empirical research on this issue also yields mixed results. Caroline van Rikegen, adjunct professor of economics at Bogazici University in Istanbul, and Beatrice Wedder, professor of international economics at the Graduate Institute of Geneva, reported in 2001 that countries paying higher government wages are less corrupted. But other studies find that such a negative relationship is either not robust or does not exist. And this report can be found in the Journal of Development Economics under the caption Bureaucratic Corruption and the Rate of Temptation to Wages in the Civil Service Affect Corruption and by How Much. But Daniel Treisman, professor of political science at the University of California, suggests that a lack of reliable data is the main reason for this controversy. And the reference article in the Annual Review of Political Science, dated 2007, is titled, What Have We Learned About the Causes of Corruption from 10 Years of Cross-National Empirical Research? So let's look out for salary increases from these corrupt members of the federal cabinet. That's the plan. They want to justify their salary increases. But salary increases for these corrupt ministers will not discourage corruption. Not at all, my straight dog family. Salary increases will not.
Are we planning to also raise the ministers' salaries to discourage the corruption? Minister Henderson?
That's above my pay grade. But I'm hoping that the ministers can in fact get an increase in salary. It's something that I would not be opposed to.
What's above her pay grade? Whether an increased salary would discourage corruption? But my straight dog family, these, like the contract handed to Kashiri Allers, would not stop, even if we increase their salaries 50-fold. Dr. Joe will never give an account for the 500 tanks or water buckets, my friend called them, that are missing. He would not, my straight dog family.
As an interim measure, the government introduced a new water storage tank project to ease the suffering of residents by improving access to water by affected households. Under the project, we have already distributed over 250 tanks primarily to vulnerable residents in Upper Kayon, Whites Village, Sarabori, Cabitry, and Spooners Village. Water shortage tanks were also distributed to the residents of St. Peter's. A total of 314 water storage tanks were supplied to households throughout the Upper Monkey Hill, the Glen, Paris Village, Fountain, and Stapleton, bringing the total distribution under the water project to about 500 or more.
But where are the other 500? We saw a consignment in the Cochise garage yard. We saw some pumps. he's going to try to distribute 20 or 25 pumps. But we are following that story, my Straight Talk family. But there are kleptocrats across the Narrows as well. Imagine, almost 7 years have elapsed, and the wing of the Alexandra Hospital cannot be completed. Could you imagine that, my Straight Talk family?
I will admit that due to unforeseen challenges, we have been unable to progress as intended with work on our new hospital wing for this fiscal year. We have been slow in our progress, Madam President, but it was a deliberate action on the part of this government to get it right. It is our intention to resume work expeditiously on this project, and we have allocated significant funding in this budget to move this project to completion.
Deliberate action to delay it for 6 or 7 years. Would you imagine that? But this caller from Nevis accurately sums up the performance or lack thereof, the snake Mark Brantley, as it relates to capital projects in Nevis. He said this, my Straight Talk family, this caller.
Mark Brantley is a bad leader and a bad manager. Every project that CCM have started in Nevis, every one of them is unfinished at this present moment. And I'm telling you, every one of them going over budget, every one of them, they've been going on for the last 5-6 years, and not one of them has been completed. I don't even want to talk about our hospital. I don't even want to mention our hospital.
Well, that caller can choose not to talk about the hospital, as I already did anyway. But we can also talk about the Monday track, the taxi terminal at Oli, with the Sunday school benches, according to Janice Daniel Hodge. I saw them personally. The snake, Mark Brantley, has never given a proper accounting on any or all of these projects, while hundreds of millions of dollars have gone down the tube, to quote his newly found friend, Terrence Michael Jew, my Straight Talk family.
We dealt with corruption, systemic corruption, deep. The more you dig is the more you uncover. You can't believe every institution under threat. It hurts when you see tens of millions going down tubes. Programs were used to thief money. Let them speak out and talk the things, you know.
Is there systemic corruption in Nevis? Is there systemic corruption in St. Kitts? We know that. Were these projects in Nevis used to thief money? According to Jew, over $2 million have gone missing from the Bede water drilling project for almost 7 years now, my Straight Dog family. $2 million. And the snake Mark Brantley has not provided any satisfactory answers except to say that the NIA will proceed or has proceeded with legal action.
As I indicated publicly before, we had made a commitment to have an additional 3 wells done at a global cost of 10 million EC dollars back in 2017. In fact, it was in August of 2017 that we paid to a company called Bede just over 2 million EC dollars as a down payment. Bede has never come to do the work for the government. And so we don't have our $2 million and we don't have any wells. We have decided to take legal action against Bede that is ongoing. So it has not been for want of trying in relation to water.
You know, geothermal development, on the other hand, may just need a dedicated thesis or its own dissertation. But the snake Mark Brantley is heading to the Caribbean Renewable Energy Forum 2024, CREF 2024 it's called, in Florida, April this year. He has so far maneuvered his way onto the list of speakers that is being reviewed. We do not know what Mark Brantley would say, but we can accurately predict that what he would not say, Yes, we can predict what he would not say, but we can't predict what he would say. My Straight Dog family. I had the opportunity to speak at several CREF fora in my capacity as Federal Minister of Energy. I even had the distinct privilege to appear on a panel with my namesake Troy Liburd. He must remember this on more than one occasion. The last time was at the 9th CREF Forum in 2017, when we discussed the topic 2 islands, 2 geothermal projects. But Mark Brantley, the snake, will never speak about the legacy issues on Nevis. The snake Mark Brantley will say, however, that one, in Nevis, the existence of a geothermal reservoir has been confirmed for several years now. Yes, years upon years, it has been confirmed. 2, the resource assessment or the commercial qualification of the resource is yet to be confirmed by the drilling of production wells, which are still outstanding, or which is still outstanding. The snake Mark Brantley will not repeat what Troy reported at the 7th CREF 2015, beg your pardon, that Nevis drilled 3 wells, of which 1 was dry, equipment stuck in another, and the 3rd well showed positive results. Troy Liburd also informed us that they were drilled with a diameter of 2.5 inches, which was too small, so the qualification test was not done. Mark Brantley would never say that. In St. Kitts, we completed the surface studies, or the 3G studies as they're called. These are the geology, geophysics, and geochemistry studies, which have confirmed the existence of a geothermal reservoir on St. Kitts around the Brimstone Hill area. In fact, geochemistry studies done on a particular well, the Harmony well, which was drilled 30 years ago in the area, have proven the existence of geothermal elements. Once the EIA was completed, the commercial assessment would have been done after the exploration drilling to determine the project's commercial viability. At this stage, it was risky based on empirical evidence. And it was costly as well. Back then, the estimated cost was approximately US $10 million. But in St. Kitts, we were informed that the intention was to drill 3 wells of 4.5 inches in diameter, which would have allowed full qualification tests. Results of surface studies provided us with the full confidence to move to the exploration drilling stage. But the snake Mark Brantley will never raise the issue of bankability, because for financing future cash flow and high probability of success must be acceptable to institutional lenders. Many geothermal projects like this one have experienced long delays because of the financial risk involved. And Mark Brantley always has a money problem. Thus, it should not surprise us or surprise any of us that his legacy issues will continue. The snake Mark Brantley will try to distract us by raising the issue of what I call the interconnectivity unknown. And I posted the IMF report some time ago, my Straight Dog family. If I can find it now, I will post it again. No, it's not here, my Straight Dog family. But I posted the IMF report, Annex 11, Clause 4, which address the multiple resources that can be explored to finance this development. Phase 1, it said, required an estimated US $150 million, 30 million for drilling, 60 million for geothermal plant, and another 50 million for transmission. And where are we in Nevis? Just ask the snake, Mark Brantley, where are we? And this could be his only response, my straight talk family. He said this.
Having had US $17 million approved by the Caribbean Development Bank for this project on December 9th, 2022, I had hoped to be able to report today a completion of the production well drilling phase. Unfortunately, the project has again experienced delays due to a funding gap of roughly $20 million and a failure of the initial round of bidding for the production well drilling.
And it's not just $20 million. It's 20 million US dollars, mark you. But Snake Brantley has never fully accounted for or completed any of the NIA projects, as we heard. This geothermal project, I posit the view, would be no different. Here on St. Kitts, Terence Michael Drew has failed to report on the number of passports he traded since taking office in August 2022. Terence Michael Drew has not given an account for the additional $4 million spent on the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Museum, which should have been completed in September 2022. The $5.8 million for only 1,000 water buckets needs to be properly accounted for by Cashley Allers and or Terence Michael Drew. The contract for 2,400 houses, which should have been built in 4 years at the cost of $650 million, is shrouded in corruption and secrecy. Not one house was built in 2023, and they promised 600. So we must ask, my Street Dog family, are all these programs or projects in Nevis and St. Kitts corrupted as Terence Michael Drew said?
Corruption, systemic corruption, deep programs were used to thief money.
We must ask Dr. Drew, if all of these programs and projects are used to thief money in St. Kitts and Nevis, Terence Michael Drew no doubt speaks from experience. And if that is so, then we conclude there are a bunch of kleptocrats on both sides of the narrows. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. I apologize again for my late start, and that was due to or owing to technical difficulties beyond my control. But we sorted it out, and we will credit you with the time if you so desire. But I'll open the lines now and entertain your calls and entertain your emails. And when I do so, which is any moment now, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say will be and do, or in the process of saying and or doing those things, we will strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. My Street Dog family, it's 9:34. The lines are open. The numbers are 646-829-6672. That's the overseas line. And the local line, 869-663-6672. I forgot to hail my young brigade. They're always with us. And I know they look forward for that shout out. And we should say hello to Ru Costa over there in North Carolina. I hope the storms, or South Carolina I think it is, but I hope the weather did not upset my Straight Talk family in the northeast areas of the U.S. Shamar as well, we must hail my Straight Talk family for my young brigade. And what about, did I say Kevin? Kevin over there in Nevis? I did, but no, nothing wrong if you do it twice. I must hail as well my Straight Dog family, a special lady in Missouri. How could I forget that? And all the special people in South Carolina and elsewhere, my Straight Dog family. I believe I missed some of my young brigade. Tristan, yes, Dwayne, and Shama. Did I say Shama? And Young Ru. But I'll await your calls, I'll await your emails. It's now 9:36, my Straight Dog family. Again, we apologize for this very late start tonight. And I'm sure we'll understand that these technical issues do come about, my Straight Dog family. And I will perhaps in the meanwhile juggle with a few emails. And this email reads, my Straight Dog family. Good evening, Miss Liburd. This is stuff you cannot make up. Mr. Rollins, born and raised up College Street, God. Come back home, full of his father-in-law, get the work, and he now talking like a West African because he hanging around Mr. Sutton, a born African. And between them, they're pressuring Dr. Jew to give the Guyanese born officer the top cop job. That is nastiness. Now, Wusi went further and showed us he knows his 12 times table. 12 multiplied by 1 equals 12. He informed us that he's going to reduce the homicide rate to 1 a month. 1 a year homicide is too much, Mr. Rollins. Stop smoking. The people's profit away. I hope you are or one of your family. Now, Lord, Mr. Liburd, we need prayers. Stay safe. And we have to look at the Antiguan-born DPP. He and Wilkin are big buddies. And we have to be careful with both of them. I was very surprised at Douglas's behavior in Parliament at the last budget, reads this email, the last budget session, that should be. For him to join with those show self inexperienced, rude and disrespectful elected and nominated Labour government members to refuse and deny Dr. Harris the extra time to speak was an abomination, Dr. Douglas. You forgot. It was these said rude and disrespectful people who made you cry. Literally cry, telling you time for you to go. They shame you like a dog. The good thing is they can't make Harris cry, no matter what they try. Ironically, though no opposition member during Unity resigned, was never refused additional time when requested. Let me remind them that today they are doing They are riding high and mighty, but tomorrow you may be in the valley crying. Do good and be humble to others. Let's go to the lines at 9:39. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Good evening, Patches.
Good evening, my dear brother. How about that?
I thought, Dow is great, man. Pigeon also. Good evening, everybody who listening to this wonderful program. But just before I forget, I heard that one of our regular callers from the village, Shefton, I heard that he passed, but I hear nothing official. Shefton, who used to say that he housed in the gut over Mattingly Height.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that he passed, but I ain't heard anything official.
He's in St. Kitts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shefton, I think he's Shefton Cross. He from
I know
Avenue.
I know him. I wasn't aware that he's in St. Kitts.
That's what I heard.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
You can't confirm it.
Well, sorry. Let me greet three persons here by the initials M-E, C-D, and S-O. And good night, Mr. Straight Talk, Mr. Nabo, and Slide Wine, and the locals that are here. But I want to tell you, to ask, please, when you bounce upon the corruption that was done by those who pointing finger at innocent people, please do not highlight it once. Let me continue it. Because as long as I'm breathing oxygen in and out of my nose, and I remember the corruption that those people who believe that they're more perfect than the good Lord, I can highlight them every time I remember them. Now you hear, you see they're acting on a bill, they're enforcing the bill. What is it? Integrity in public life, where you have to
declare assets.
You have to declare your assets
and liabilities.
Right, and they read out the penalty. Well, I hope they will go to those who got 18 properties all over the world. And those who get $1 million for a passport, I hope they will go after them there and let them declare what money they got and what property they got. And other assets that we don't know of. And a load of them in St. Kitts here who got the wrong assets. There are more than those in 1840 who just take up a pack of cigarette and gone in there. So a lot of these out here with the big load of assets, and they can't show how they get it with the paycheck. They have to go in 1840. Remember some of them, all the clock before 2015 election, some of them had this big account and banks in the millions, and the pay stub from the job cannot show that they get that money from the job. Now I heard one of them today, they come back with the New Year's with a more perfect than the law, accusing the farm administration of a lot of wrong things. And they're reading out the facts, they're only calling and saying they do this and do that. But I want to ask them, which taxpayers' money the band from Barbados gone with $32 million for a golf course that not even a bicycle through ball roll upon the golf course? So when they're accusing other people, let them look at the corruption, what they do too. Let them look at that. But anyway, Patrick, since we start late, I get other people want to come in, and if nobody coming in, I will come in. So thank you for the little moment.
Thank you for your intervention as usual, my dear brother. Good night, Patches reads this email. I am so disappointed with Dr. Drew. He ran a campaign saying that he will pay dividends to all citizens in the country, paying Social Security every 6 months. Patches, we are still waiting. He went into the house to fool off people, saying everybody will get their $500 and not a thing goes so. But he and the ministers take up all this money all last year to travel all over the world and forget the people who put him there and forget that the money he and the ministers spending like Kitty S belongs to us, the citizens and taxpayers in this country. He don't realize, well, he don't really want to give, beg your pardon, no $500. He could not pay the double salary because he done waste of the money. We want back Timothy Harris and Sean Richards. We want back our unity government for sure. The country would not be in this hard times and we would not be struggling so bad. The country is bleeding and hurting for good leadership patches. Drew and his circus ministers and the snake over in Nevis are sucking the life out of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have to get rid of them with this email. It's 9:45, my Straight Talk family, and again, we started late due to a technical glitch that just developed. And would you believe all we did, all the troubleshooting, the simplest thing was what was done last was to shut down the computer and start it again. But that's something we learned and did pretty late in the process. But happy to be here, my Straight Talk family. And if you have just joined me, our thesis tonight we are looking at it's kleptocrats on both sides of the narrows. But let's go back to the lines and say, caller, good night. Hello.
Hi, Patrice, good night.
Good night, my dear, and a happy new year to you.
Same to you. The lion is laying with the lamb because the opposition leader, Mark Brantley, was at the Prime Minister Gallo Friday night.
Yes.
So the lion is laying with the lamb. So people look out. We don't have nobody to represent us on the opposite side because everything the government say, if it say go up the hill, everybody say go up the hill. Mm-hmm. Nobody to say why should we go up the hill.
So sad, eh?
It's really sad. I don't know if anybody could rejog my memory. I never heard that. I never heard that the opposition does go to the present Prime Minister Gala. Wherever they have the opposition don't go. But Mark was up there, right in front, up to the top of the table. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's supposed to be the opposition leader. Isn't that something?
Like a beggar boy. He's like a beggar boy.
No, but that is sending out a message to the country. Nevis people need to get rid of him. He's a crook.
Big time.
He right up underneath Joe like at the other end. People from Asia gonna smell the sweat from Joe sooner or later. So anyway, you take care.
Yes, my dear. You summarized that very well. Thanks a lot. This Mark Brantley is a strange guy. Yes, he's a strange guy, but he's a snake guy. But you have to look at him closely. And as well, you have to look at Dr. Drew. Because Dr. Drew made the point that we are living in a federation of unrestrained political corruption. Or as I call it, we are living in a kleptocracy. To use common language, you said we are ruled by thieves. That's what he said. He said programs were implemented or used to thief money. That's what Dr. Juice spoke about. He spoke about what he called it systemic corruption.
Corruption, systemic corruption. Deep programs were used to thief money.
That's what he said. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live.
Yes, Patrice.
So
I am back. Let me say good night to the warrior soldier lady there who just called. Good night. Thank you for your encouragement. Patrice, is only in St. Christopher a lot of things being wrong and getting away with it. You know? I think Lord Cut song, that should be a national anthem. No, something should be done to that snake in Nevis. He is the biggest 2-foot snake and a 2-foot cash pan in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's long time the man there is a snake since he was in Unity, before Unity thing break up. And we know his endeavor was to mash up Unity. Because look, you can tell me, he was in the administration with Dr. Harris and all the other members them in the Team Unity administration. And when PLP had the convention over Atlas, before he come there and give support, he up Nevis sitting on a bench, and Dr. Douglas short sleeve touching he won. He told them there on a bench alone. So that showed the whole world the man is a snake, a hypocrite, a crook. And he can't come out. He can't sit down with the other two colleagues in parliament as opposition. But he find himself over there by Dr. Jugallo up front. What I tell people? What I tell people, Nevis people, are you wake up? Look at that dangerous hypocrite up there called the snake. Are you walk on him? NRP? Are you get together? Gather your strength and do a knees up. Shove him out. Otherwise you don't sink Nevis with you up there. Don't give him a break. Everywhere Dr. Juby, he there. Look, he went up there and he told the riding bike and he waving, showing eye what he could do. Showing eye what he could do, and he come down here. And before the man get up in parliament and tell Mr. Point of Order and Miss Point of Order, Conway and the woman senator, tell them what they were doing to Dr. Harris. It is wrong. That is not parliament behavior. No, he sit down over there and swallow everything, and he turn out when he want because he didn't want to hear Dr. Harris. Everywhere you go, he there. So I am calling on Sean and Dr. Harris. Both of you alone, out there upon the limb, show everything behind your back what I'm gone. Because if you all ain't do that, make a move. If you all ain't do that, the boat going on the water mine. The boat done a lot on the water, you know. The water reach up to the top of the boat patches where you put in the oar between the two sticks. All you need now is everybody come together who don't want the country to mash up and who want the poor people who are in need get what they're supposed to get, not those who are greedy. Look, a lot of them what they got. A lot of them what they got in the administration. People, let us rise up. This is a new year. We cannot allow Satan and his snake them to kill the country no more. If Dr. Joe walk on the canopy, he send it to a radio station to make news. He looking popularity. And that ain't doing nothing good for the country. The man keeping on the country. Look the amount of offer. He offering children and all kind of parents about with the taxpayers' money. And he ain't gonna live up to nothing like that. He ain't gonna live up to it. So you better do what you're gonna do and stop coward. You take one block at a time to build a house. You don't have to buy 5 pallets of block, want them to build a house. You buy 50, you run them, and when you're done, you buy another set. We ain't gonna wait until we get up no rampack of crowd to go up on the street. You get up.
Okay.
Patches, you know what they're trying to do to you, you know? Long time. They don't want you to be on the air because you bringing out the facts, the truth. Okay. And that You know, when you come out with the truth, everybody gonna open their mouth and say, what? We never know that.
Okay, my brother. Thanks a lot for you.
This fiber thing, what I got here, about they move the telephone them from electric to fiber. They're giving you more fiber than what the dietitian say a human should consume every day. Thank you, Patches.
Thanks a lot for your intervention. It's 6 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour, and we go straight back to the lines. Call you live.
Yeah, who is more snake than some of them who talking now? When Timothy Harris was calling Sean Richards Momo, they were there he. Who is more snake than them?
Okay, thanks a lot for your intervention. Let's go back to the lines. That's what Street Talk is all about, no doubt. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you, Patches. I must intervene with my contribution right now. Now, when an election is coming up, we have all the candidates for party or independent will campaign for the people to give them a chance to be in office, to do the work to make life better for them. Moving forward, that wish being honored. I mean, promises was made to get the confidence of people to trust them. No, they are getting what they need. What is the promise that you had to the people? You forgot them. Because, you know, the crying Sankets, people can't afford to eat a decent meal. And to me, a decent meal is most important than anything else you could accomplish. If you don't eat, you're going to dead. You're going to starve. You're going to hungry. You're going to lead to thieves. You're going to lead to corruption. And I'm asking all your politicians and leaders right now in St. Kitts on the Labour side, I'm not a hitting at Labour. It doesn't matter who is in power. What is your payback to the people who put you there, rather than to have them washing their mouth on you of thief and corruption, not trusting you anymore? We need to get rid of you. Those are the words. Now, we all are humans. And if you care about people, I'm speaking on a humanitarian, what is wrong to make life better for them in terms of what a human necessity is? Proper housing, lower the cost of things, and improvement and maintain it on a sustainable spirit. I mean, some will say things going good for them, and majority is saying not good. So, leaders, what are you going to do moving forward from today? Now, how much does it take for a human to sustain a day and another day and another day? You need a good rest. You need to eat. You have some social time. And then by the time you know it, another day has gone. Same repeating. It is simple. I think you all can do better. Okay? Some people are never satisfied. Okay? But I think you all got to refresh how you all doing business in St. Kitts to make a better life for the people. Thank you. That is just my opening for now, but I have something to come again. I'll yield to others. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my dear brother. And then the event you have just joined us. In fact, we started late tonight, and I do apologize for that. And we are considering the dissertation tonight, which I've titled kleptocrats on both sides of the narrows. But I always think of the disgraced Attorney General, Garth Lucian Wilkin. And he touts and he beats his chest about making a mark in society by passing several pieces of good governance legislation. He referred to the Anti-Corruption Act and amendments to the Integrity in Public Life Act, as well as the Freedom of Information Act. And he said this.
The good governance legislation. This is something that has been very important. This was a message that was given out on the campaign trail, and we are proud that we have made it a reality, and we have stamped our mark in ensuring that we eradicate corruption from our society by the passage of the Anti-Corruption Act, the amendments to the Integrity in Public Life Act, as well as the Freedom of Information Act.
And my Straight Talk family, as I mentioned earlier, when you listen to Garth Lucian Wilkin, he would make you believe that we now have in St. Kitts, since this new Jew administration, a corruption protected area, a CPA, when in fact we have a kleptocracy, as we are ruled by thieves on both sides of the narrows. And I'm using the language of Dr. Drew as the point of departure. Thieving is the language to use. It's rampant on both sides of the narrows. But we are afraid to speak about it. We are afraid. But something ought to be done, my Straight Dog family. When we look at the current, the AG, Garth Lucian Wilkin, is part and parcel of a current set of politicians in the federal cabinet who like us to believe that they are victims of their time. And this is totally incorrect. Furthermore, these women and men in government seem to want to find excuses, even though they boasted about making their mark in society by passing the Anti-Corruption Act and amending the Integrity in Public Life Act, as well as the Freedom of Information Act. But yet, one of their own has not filed their assets and liabilities with the Integrity Commission. What has been done? Nothing. Nothing has been done.
I made mention before about the bolstering of the anti-corruption laws, and which creates the obligation for public servants to file their declarations of assets, income, and liabilities. We have some challenges there. We expected more persons to have filed by now, and we have written to the defaulting persons, and the result has been minimal. It is not good. We take no pleasure in sending your names to the Director of Public Prosecutions. You have heard him. He is very serious, and he will be harassing us to send those names. Parliamentarians, most of them with the exception of 2, they have filed.
But the law says shall. How does this chairperson of the IPL or the IPL Commission just willingly applies her discretion? The law doesn't provide for that. The law says shall. Shall mean must. But what is very interesting though, my Straight Talk family, when it comes to this corruption, is what the disgraced Attorney General said. Before that, this question was posed to Marsha Henderson. This question was posed to Marsha Henderson.
Are we planning to also raise the ministers' salaries to discourage the corruption? Minister Henderson?
That's above my pay grade. But I'm hoping that the ministers can in fact get an increase in salary. It's something that I would not be opposed to.
But what takes the cake is the disgraced Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin was being cited by a High Court judge for breaking the law. But he suggested that it has to do with paying ministers, or paying ministers well. You have to pay ministers well to discourage bribery. Would you believe that, my Straight Talk family? Yes, he said this.
In order to discourage ministers being corrupt, they should be paid well. Yes, you're doing a public service. However, you should be able to take care of your family. But it should also be reasonable so that you can satisfy your obligations. And when the person comes with the potential bribe, you can tell them, no, I don't want that.
Is Garth Lucian Wilkins saying that he cannot satisfy his obligations, my Straight Talk family, and he would take a bribe? Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
I did.
So,
Mr. Patrick, good night.
how is the Bible man? Good night, sir. How art thou?
Boy, you cut me off guard, you know, because I was wondering if this is a different program.
I'm sorry about that. We had some difficulties, but you know, God is a good God, and I know you believe in God. Yes.
For 2024, I am going to the Bible word by word. And I am going to tell you something tonight, Mr. Paget. What the Bible been saying in Psalms 41 and verse 1. It said, blessed is the man that considereth the poor.
He shall.
In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him.
True.
Mr. President, I want you to tell me what is the meaning of considerate? And spell it out for me, Mr. Patel. Now, we, our brother's keeper, and a lot of people do not understand. And I'm saying this thing to you, to Mr. Patel, that God hear the cries of the poor people. And listen, people today are calling the wrong right, Patel. What used to happen 15 years was right. What now? What used to happen 15 years long? Today they are calling it right. And you believe that people who are called, if you could hear them over the tube, and so God is going to judge them. And I am so glad that it's going to be a judgment day. But I have a lot of things to talk for this 2024. But Patty didn't need time. I ain't start yet. It's going to need time. Because the last thing I'm going to say, Mr. Patty, God asked his brother Cain, where is his brother? Cain was back out. Are my brother's keeper? And a lot of people today, Mr. Pattis, are asking the same question. Are my brother's keeper? Pattis, I ain't going to further than there. Have a pleasant night. Yes, sir. See you.
Have a pleasant night as well, my dear brother. Let's go back to the line and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live.
Yes, thanks again, Patches. I will request that you interact with me. In respect to the comment that the AG made about ministers has to be paid well to refrain from corruption. That does not sound ethical, because when a minister taking up this position and being given the power to manage, yes, temptation could become such as corruption and bribes. But if they made up their mind from beginning to be in such a position, they should hold strength of discipline of these temptations. But running away from ministers need to be well paid to avoid bribe. That is like holding the treasury hostage. If you don't give me more money, I will accept bribes. Well, that is a forcefully premeditated act. It's just remained to be manifest. So, why would the AG said that? It is giving me that we're going to hold the treasury hostage to pay us more money. The money, their pay is coming from the treasury. So, I don't think he should have made that comment, because look what it caused him and the rest of the minister. He's the one who said that. I stand for correction. So I find that to be real stupid. What do you think? Because they need more money. And how they are just in power for a year and change. How soon should the minister be given a raise? I mean, look at the average people. They are not getting anything. Look how long it takes for them to get a raise of the minimum wage to be raised. And what other expectation they were expecting. They didn't get none. So why should, and their raise is so high to compare with minimum wage people. They could survive off of what they have and give the raise. The people who, the part of the federation that need a raise is the people who are working like mules, the municipal workers. But those ministers have to just take it easy because they're making enough money to sustain themselves and their family.
Well,
that's my comment.
Well, it depends on what you call enough. What Wilkins seemed to be suggesting, right? That if you he had a certain standard of living before he took the job as a public servant, and he's perhaps not at that level now, right? He cannot satisfy his obligations to use his words, you know. And if you can't satisfy obligations, then you're susceptible. You're prone to take a bribe. But that's the rationale which is troubling. It's troubling, really. It's really troubling.
And having said that, that's a premeditated act. Remain to be managed.
Okay, my brother, got you.
So I will say, don't take bribes, and you request where you are, and you're being put there. So be disciplined and sustain that strength of not accepting bribes.
Okay.
Because it is.
Yeah. Thank you very much, my dear brother. It's very interesting, the comment, you know, because and you wonder if it is the question was planted, as they say. It came from the chairperson of the town hall meeting that they had. And this was the question really posed to Marsha Henderson. This is what was asked.
Are we planning to also raise the minister's salaries to discourage the corruption? Minister Henderson?
That's above my pay grade. But I'm hoping that the ministers can in fact get an increase in salary. It's something that I would not be opposed to.
Let me play that question again so we can hear it good.
Are we planning to also raise the minister's salaries to discourage the corruption? Minister?
Yeah, to raise the minister's salary to discourage corruption. That was the premise of the question. And here came the infamous AG. His comments on that.
In order to discourage ministers being corrupt, they should be paid well. Yes, you're doing a public service. However, you should be able to take care of your family. But it should also be reasonable so that you can satisfy your obligations. And when the person comes with the potential bribe, you can tell them, no, I don't want that.
And you know, Gertrude Wilkin, if we interpret that, is suggesting that higher salaries must be paid to ministers in order to combat corruption in St. Kitts Nevis. But what is the cost to do so? And as I pointed out earlier, there is no empirical evidence to support that view. And my Straight Talk family, as I said, it's troubling. But it's 17 past the 10 o'clock hour. And we thank you for holding on tonight, because I started a bit late because of our difficulty. But I posit the view that salary increases, which they are attempting to do, will not discourage corruption. It will not stop deals like the contract handed to Cashley Allers. That would not stop. Dr. Drew will never give an account for the 500 tanks that are missing. But we have established tonight that there are kleptocrats across the Narrows as well. When we think of the issues with the projects over there in Nevis. And interesting, I just got a copy of a release from the office of the DPP, dated today, January 11. And it is captioned Enforcement of Integrity in Public Life Act. And it reads, and I quote, "The Director of Public Prosecutions Office acknowledges the receipt of the 10th day of January, as of the 10th day of January, a communication from the Integrity Commission regarding the failure of numerous public officials to comply with the mandatory declaration requirements as stipulated under Section 30 of the Integrity in Public Life Act, Cap 22.18, as amended. A list of officers who are required to file pursuant to the Act is attached here too. As the custodian of legal enforcement in our federation, this office views any breach of the Act with the utmost seriousness, especially by those in positions of public trust. It is the constitutional mandate of this office to uphold the law, ensuring justice and fairness without fear or favor. In light of the received information, this office is currently preparing charges for the individuals on the provided list. Due to the list's length and the need to resolve certain administrative particulars, we anticipated that all charges brought under the authority of the Director of Public Prosecutions will be filed by Thursday, the 1st February 2024. The high ideals of justice and fairness, which are the bedrock of our legal system, necessitate stringent adherence to the laws governing public integrity. The requirement for public officials to file declarations of the income, assets, liabilities, and private interests is a critical tool in the fight against corruption. This mechanism ensures transparency and accountability, deterring the misuse of public office for personal gain. Moreover, while some may find these requirements intrusive, they are essential checks against corruption. More importantly, they shine a light on potential conflicts of interest and illicit activity, safeguarding the public trust, and ensuring integrity in government. This comfort of compliance pales in comparison to the necessity of maintaining integrity within our public institutions. It continues. The refusal, it continues, to file statutory declarations of assets and liabilities as mandated by the Integrity in Public Life Act may seem like an isolated act of defense. However, it is the first insidious crack in the den of societal order, It establishes the dangerous precedent that laws can be ignored if one deems them personally inconvenient. If public officials sworn to uphold the law can circumvent this vital transparency measure, what message does it send to the wider citizenry? Furthermore, as law becomes selective, so too does trust. The public, witnessing public officials cherry-picking which law to obey, justifiably questions the integrity of the entire system. Resentment festers, breeding cynicism, and a dangerous disengagement from civic responsibility. Why follow the rules, the public may ask, if these in power do not? Notwithstanding that our office is in the process of filing charges, it is still possible to escape prosecution if the Commission reserves your completed declaration before the 26th of January 2024. For ease of reference, the requisite declaration may be downloaded from http://iplskn.com. It is worthy of note that the initial deadline for filing the 31st of July 2023 has long passed, with the next filing date of April 30th, 2024 fast approaching. The Integrity Commission has already warned applicable public officials that if public officials fail to file by December the 1st, 2023, that they would consider handing over names to the Director of Public Prosecutions for action. On the 8th December, as a part of a press conference to commemorate Anti-Corruption Day, as Director of Public Prosecutions, I promised action against defaulters in no uncertain terms, and that is just a matter of waiting for the list from the Commission. I have now received that list. There will be no further warning. All of these opportunities for compliance have been made to demonstrate to the court that every effort has been made to reach out to defaulters to comply. Charges, once finalized and filed, will carry the full weight of this act, with potential fines of $30,000 or imprisonment for up to 3 years. I make one final appeal to all non-compliant public officials to fulfill this legal obligation and promptly to avoid prosecution. It is not the desire that any should perish by way of prosecution, but as Director of Public Prosecutions, my duty is to enforce the law. When faced with the choice between non-enforcement due to perceived inconvenience and enforcing the law to combat endemic corruption, I unreservedly choose the latter. The choice is not between comfort or justice. Rather, it is between upholding the rule of law or allowing corruption to fester. The status of individuals on the list, regardless of position or influence, is irrelevant to this office. With a high-ranking official or appointed worker, everyone entrusted with public duty is equally bound by the Integrity in Public Life Act. No one is above the law. This office stands firm in its resolve to prosecute violators of the Integrity in Public Life Act and ensure that all public officials adhere to the highest standards of integrity as required by law. The message is unequivocal. Comply with your legal obligations or face the consequences. The fight for transparency and accountability in public service demands unwavering commitment, and the Director of Public Prosecutions Office will not hesitate to act to safeguard the integrity of our Federation. And is signed by Mr. Adley Smith, Director of Public Prosecutions. A long release, but I had to read it in the record, my Straight Dog family. And as it says, the caption, Enforcement of the Integrity of Public Life Act, my Straight Dog family. And just like we said, I was wondering whether how could the integrity, the IPL Commission chairperson apply discretionary powers. The law says you shall file. And if you don't file, the law says, what are the consequences? Let's take a few more calls, my Straight Dog family, before we wrap tonight's programming. I'll go to this call. Caller, you live. I'll guide you by brevity as we are winding down as well. Hello, caller.
I'll take probably 20 seconds. Okay. In respect to the enforcement that the public prosecutor stated, failure to adhere the obligation by the ministers, they're facing jail time of 3 years or a payment of whatever you just said. I don't remember. But would that also
30,000.
30,000? Would that also entails they be banned from office? Would they be thrown out because they violate?
You can't be in jail and work.
So would they stop them from work due to that technicality?
He said, sorry to interrupt, it's 30,000 or 3 years in jail. So if you're in prison, then you can't be working. But, you know.
It did not state that. It didn't state that they will be put from office. But it is expected they would not be able to operate for the time they're in jail. Also, are there any plea bargain will be involved if they do it late? What about lateness? Failure to comply with the deadline? They should be filed. Would there be a plea bargain? That may end up to be a slap on the wrist. That is another issue because we want this thing to be firm and what's said is honored, because when you don't say something and you don't enforce something, you can't charge me anything beyond that. So $30,000 or 3 years in prison, banned from office, and plea bargain is not accepted after the deadline because they're going in guilty unless the act of God comes in. Thank you.
Okay, my brother. I think you're complicating that though. I was trying to find the legislation, but let's go back to the lines. In the meanwhile, caller, you're live. So. Yes, my lord.
This is the major.
How is the major tonight? You're up late.
Boy, I'll just wake up. I just wake up. So how is everything?
I am peaceful. What about yourself?
I taking it one day at a time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What I want to find out from you, because I just was going through listening at the late stage. I see you call a word here. I don't know if it's kleptocrat and kleptomaniac is the same thing, or is it a new word as regards to correct English?
No, kleptocrat. Kleptocrat is an entirely different word, my brother.
Well, because kleptocrat is entirely different to kleptomania. Well, as far as I know, in school, I used to hear this word kleptomaniac all the time. And I say, well, let me check out to see what it means. And what it means that kleptomaniac is a sort of impulsive thief. Stealing, not thief, stealing.
Thief in
I don't know. A kleptomaniac. There is a kleptomania. It's a sort of impulsive stealing. So I wanted to know, well, if this kleptocrat, where that come from? So I wondered if that was correct.
Kleptocracy is to rule by thieving.
Yes.
So.
Yes. You see, that got me puzzled. You see, that got me puzzled. I mean, I'm blaming nobody. But you see, from the time I hear this word kleptocrat, I say, where this new word from? He comes up, Patches becomes a real English teacher.
No, not at all. I found it in the lexicon, my brother.
Yeah. You see, that is what got me puzzled. That is what got me puzzled, because somebody even sent a message here to me by telling me that if you want to be happy with everyone, you must, and as a leader, to be happy, you must sell ice cream. If you want to be a good...
Major, I have to ask to fall out, Major. I'm talking...
No, where we from.
Yeah.
And that's everything, you see. So I say, well, to be a good leader, and you want to be happy, you must sell ice cream.
Yes. Good to hear, nonetheless, my brother. Good to hear. I trust that your new year will stay healthy and you will go well.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Major. Major Jones. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Yes, okay, Patches. Mr. Patches, man, how are you, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Okay, great, man. So we went from Major Jones to another Jones, Burl Jones.
Yes.
And I'm glad I'm getting here, man. But you know, you're gonna have to give me a couple of minutes,
from
man.
St. Kitts and one from Nevis, right? Or St. Kitts.
Yes.
No, we're both from St. Kitts Nevis. I caught you. I caught you, man.
just like you know. A Nevis and born in St. Kitts.
That's right, my brother. That's right.
Okay, so here's the joke now, right? All of this talk, man, about this DPP and the situation with these people not filing. These people, they all has broken the law already because the deadline has already passed.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
If you walk in Rams and slide one of them tin of sardine in your pocket because the sardine cans is so flat, and you think you could slide it in your pocket and get rid of that shit, and one of the people in the store owner see you doing that, before you walk out the door, you'll be surprised to see you're crowded by a set of police outside the door, and then you've gone up to 1840.
True.
You know what I'm saying? All of these persons, man, who has broken the law, their butt should be charged. Right now, there was running St. Kitts and Nevis without the DPP, and they now put one in place, and the DPP came in to do his job, and whoever is blocking this man from doing his job, the Prime Minister and the AG, they should be looking at this matter, bro. They can't be just in a hole, you know, not upholding the law. These are the same people that went into Parliament and passed these laws, man.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The way how I see it, man, right now, the St. Kitts people in St. Kitts and Nevis need to get up off their butts and go in the street. They have to go in the street. You know, this is like a role reversal. When we needed the DPP wasn't there. They was running the nation without the DPP. You know, that in itself is some bunch of corruption. The place is too corrupted. And for all those people that be talking on the radio station for these 15, 20, 30 years, they too need to get themselves organized and come in the street. Put the pressure on top of these politicians and these higher ups and these people who's holding public office and think that they're above the law. The citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, whether they're at home or in the diaspora, I hope they're hearing my voice tonight. They need to organize themselves and just go in the street. This is a golden opportunity to people who want to eradicate that corruption, to get this stuff started and shake up the place. You know what I mean? The DPP really right now needs the public back end. He needs the backing of the public right now. When we needed his back, when we needed the DPP and we need the backing from him, now the man might be in a rock right now. He might be in a position immediately as this man is getting hired and put in place. Look at what we're dealing with here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The man probably home right now saying, "Bye, I wish I had the backing of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. I wish tomorrow I could see them downtown in front of the public courthouse, in front of the main judicial structure in St. Kitts and in Bastille. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis need to gather right in front of the main judicial building in Bastille, in front of the federal courthouse, the biggest courthouse in St. Kitts and Nevis. That's where the judicial system is managed from. The system has two sets of laws, one for the common man and one for the higher ups. If the people don't go in the street and peaceful demonstration and back up the DPP right now, you know what they can do to the DPP? They can crowd this man and cow this man down, and next thing you know, this man is scared to do his job. When I asked the AG who is going to charge these corrupted politicians and other higher up persons who have public office, he said that he's not the man to do it. No, we have the man to do it, doing it right now. The man said he got charges on paper already. That's just needed to put names and dates on top of it. And here we have the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis like cowing down. The people them need to stand up, bro. If they don't stand up in the place will forever stay like how it is. And whoever is hearing my voice tonight, bro, I wish I was down there underground, bro. I wish they could move that Brian Claus. I got a foreign passport, bro. They're blocking me from coming down there. If I didn't migrate, I would have been in the political arena in St. Kitts and Nevis. You think I'm scared to throw my hat in the ring? But us who's out here in the diaspora, they're blocking us from coming home and holding a public office. They're blocking us from coming home and holding a public office. They only want our vote when election time comes around. You tell them parliamentarians in St. Kitts and Nevis to address that Brian Claus and remove it. And I'll be down there underground to contribute to my own society where my neighbor's string is buried, bro. I'm one of the persons that's tired of that corruption, man. It's a new year now. The corruption stretch over into the new year. And if the DPP don't get this backing right now from the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, he may as well go home. The AG and the Prime Minister is who to see over this stuff here. They need to be called out, man. I'm calling out the AG and the Prime Minister tonight to clean up the mess in the Federation. All right, Patches, man. That's my little contribution for the night, man. Citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, rise up and stand up while you all got a chance. Otherwise, this corruption continues for the next 40 years.
Well said, my dear brother.
I want to get that Brian Claus addressed, man. I want to get that Brian Claus removed. Yep. And I want to get that corruption minimized and that murder rate and the high rate of crime minimized. It's not going to get minimized. These things are not going to get a change unless this DPP here get the ball rolling like what he's trying to do right now. The citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis got to realize what's going on right now. This is a golden chance. All those people on all of these radio stations that have been talking. Yo, it's too much lip service in St. Kitts and Nevis. It's time for action, bro. The people have got to stand up. They don't have no courage. Here you all have a great golden opportunity to really support each other. This is not no party politics, bro. This is a big national issue. All those persons, man, the judicial system there is too corrupted, bro. And this is the biggest example that anyone in the whole world can see. The DPP is trying to do his job, bro. And the higher ups in the government is probably stopping this man. And only two persons around this whole judicial system, around this matter, that should have their big hands in the mix. And it's the Prime Minister and the AG. They need to address this situation ASAP. Otherwise, the corruption continues, bro. The status quo remains the same. I'm calling out the AG and the Prime Minister tonight, man. They know who I am. They know who I am. They know who I am. Only one phone call, they got to call over to Nevis. And they know who to call in Nevis to ask, who is Burl Jones from Cotton Ground? Everyone knows who I am, bro. Remove that Brian Claus and let us over here from the diaspora who got who have the insight and who has come out here and seen things from a different perspective. We can come home and make contribution to our own society. I know there must have people in the diaspora who wish they can come home and contribute, especially after all the years that we have came over here to America and these foreign lands and make contributions in these societies. We want to come home and make contributions in our own society. Ras Ujima Paris, Carlisle Paris from Farms Village in Cotton Ground, was bestowed an award from the NAACP New Brunswick, New Jersey chapter for his great, tremendous contribution in the arts and the entertainment field. Ras Ujima, Carlisle Paris, and I want to big him up tonight. And Ras, man, one love, man, I love you, bro. Keep up the good works, man. Jaja is looking down on you, bro. All right, Mr. Liburd, man. You have a good night, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for your intervention. And you made that point, the parliamentarians went and passed the law. And it was, we were told by the chair of the commission that 2 parliamentarians did not file.
I made mention before about the bolstering of the anti-corruption laws, and which creates the obligation for public servants to file their declarations of assets, income, and liabilities. We have some challenges there. We expected more persons to have filed by now, and we have written to the defaulting persons, and the result has been minimal. It is not good. We take no pleasure in sending your names to the Director of Public Prosecutions. You have heard him. He is very serious, and he will be harassing us to send those names. Parliamentarians, most of them with the exception of 2, they have filed.
And yes, the DPP had said this earlier as well.
Your DPP stands ready. As soon as you hand over those names, I've already drafted the charges. I've already drafted it. It's just a matter of putting in your name and signing it and the different dates and so on, and a charge is laid. I've already laid down the gauntlet. It's either you do what you're required to do, or you suffer the inconvenience of having to pay lawyer, inconvenience of going to court, etc. The choice is yours.
Yes, you have until the 26th of January. The DPP has his list already, we are told. And he will, according to his release, press release number 1 of 2024, enforcement of integrity in public life. He said, the choice is yours. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches. Yes, Patches.
So,
the caller that called just a few minutes ago, I will support that clause to be removed. I think St. Kitts, Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis should have dual citizen. You could vote in St. Kitts, you could participate in office, public office, and that is affecting a lot of people in the diaspora. And it goes like this. Due to the fact that St. Kitts and Nevis does not have dual citizen.
You do have dual citizen.
Due to the fact, the American citizen, I'm talking about America, we in America. Once you have American citizenship, you are barred from public office, running for public office. I stand for correction. But that clause should be waived and abolished.
Okay.
Especially citizenship. So, unlike Mr. Jones, who just speak, who has interest in doing some diligent justice in his federation, he should be allowed, if that clause and invoking dual citizenship for all people from St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller, well, it doesn't really say American. It's just It speaks to allegiance in a nutshell. Those are my words. To a foreign power. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Patches, a pleasant good evening to you, love.
How are you?
Good night.
Good night, my dear. Good night. How are you tonight?
I'm fine. When I listen to that case wherein everyone must put in the thing and what's not. You see?
Are you there?
Patches, or you talking to? Yes, when I listen to that case there, it seems to me like they never know what so serious it was going to be, because remember they was only going to do that to get at one man and to get at the rest of them and think that they would have been out of the deal. But now that they see they don't go in and do it, and now that they see that it's so serious, they want to pull back. The same law what they pass, it's going to hang them, because they was only doing it to get at a certain set of people, thinking that they would have been out of the contract. But they see now that they cannot get out now, so they must try to do all sorts and all kind of things. Yes, you don't always say moon one thing to catch them, and this is the time that the moon is going to catch them there, because they're doing things and they ain't know why they're doing. But you have a good night to hear me. You don't fighting for them. Everyone then go hang yourself.
Thanks a lot for your intervention. Let's go back to the lines. I'll take a few more calls. I'm going to guide you by the rules of brevity, my dear brother, since you've been here several times.
The program had like pepper, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had like pepper. No Patches? Well said, Maisie. Well said. Patches, you know, the golden rule say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Mm-hmm. Now listen here, Patches. They're going to take away $500 from the people who are depending on the $500 for meet the application in the home. But yet, they want to come with the 85% increase on them. And every one of them in that parliament deal working for anybody who are getting the $500 out here. But they're going to stop that and want to build up, strengthen them one. Now, you see how it is? What they don't like for themselves, they must not give. And let me say the last thing before I go. That is this bill here. A lot of people going to do a lot of things, you know why? And a lot of them going to lose the asset because they going to want to put somebody name in front to front for them when they're hiding the bubble, the crime, the activity, what they're doing, they're hiding. And when time come for them to say, okay, the case done gone, so let me get back what you were fronting me for. And so, ain't everybody going to get them back. Some people going to say, no, I expose myself to jail for you, and you ain't getting it back. That is, you have a good night here until next week, God willing.
Have yourself a good night.
I always watch you back.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. And yes, my Straight Dog family, as we wrap tonight's program, we looked at our thesis for tonight, which is I titled Kleptocrats on both sides of the Narrows. I want to thank that good lady for sharing that release with me, that press release tonight, because I was actually challenging the decision of the IPL Commission chair lady or chairperson. If you broke the law, you broke the law. And that's what I started from the beginning. Whosoever broke the law should be penalized. The Prime Minister spoke about thieving. And it was the Attorney General who touted that they have made a mark in society by passing several pieces of good governance legislation. And one of which he referred to was the Integrity in Public Life Act. But I made the point that all they did was to ensure the secrecy of their corrupt practices. And if you really listen to the Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin, it gave us the impression that here in St. Kitts we have a corruption-protected area, when in fact we have a kleptocracy for the major, as we are ruled by thieves. Thieving, according to Dr. Jew, is rampant on both sides of the narrows. But we are afraid to speak about it. Why are we afraid? And I submit tonight that it will not stop unless we send one of them to jail. If you find me thieving, then jail me, jail patches. What I've said tonight, my people, unless we send one of them to 1840, this kleptocracy, to use a nice word, or this unrestrained political corruption in St. Kitts Nevis will not stop. We will always be ruled by thieves. One of those parliamentarians we will never know officially because all these filings are confidential. But one of those parliamentarians who did not file, one for sure, we are hearing two, but one of them for sure sits in the cabinet with the Prime Minister. How could that be? That should not be. Could not be. Should not be. There's also a famous Labour lawyer I made mention of. And I cannot call his name simply because the matter was settled out of court. Because of an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. But this lawyer sold the shares or misappropriate funds from one of the shareholders in a company he was secretary of. That company has now wound up. But that lawyer, that famous lawyer, has ultimate authority in approving CBI projects worth billions of dollars. Has time smoothed out his cookery? Can we, like the Bible instructs us, can we allow him to go therefore and make disciples in our federation? Is a switch being flipped to create an outcome-based morality? Those are some of the questions I asked tonight. But this current set of politicians in the federal cabinet would, however, like us to believe they are victims of crime or time, or victims of their time, I should say. My Street Dog family, the disgrace Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin suggested, that it has to do with paying ministers well. Is Garth Lucien Wilkin saying that he cannot satisfy his obligations and he would take a bribe? Is that what he says? To need to encourage corruption, you need to pay ministers well? The data doesn't support his thesis. They're trying to increase their salaries. But they're kleptocrats on both sides of the narrows, my Street Dog family. And this is something we have to examine. Systemic corruption in St. Kitts, systemic corruption in Nevis. And that's what Dr. Jew said. Is he speaking from experience? He said this, my Street Dog family.
Corruption, systemic corruption, deep programs were used to thief money.
The programs of getting water storage tanks, was that one of the programs used to thief money, according to Jew? Over $2 million have gone missing from the water drilling project in Nevis. And Mark Bundy has not provided any satisfactory answers except that the NIA has proceeded with legal action. These are the issues. on both sides of the Narrows. And my Straight Dog family, here in the Federation, issues have been raised about corruption. Terence Michael Drew has failed to report on the number of passports he traded since taking office in August 2022. We understand there are thousands. Terence Michael Drew has not given an account for the additional $4 million spent on the RLB Museum, the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Museum, which was estimated at $4 million and just jumped to $8 million. Should have been completed in September. The $5.8 million for only 1,000 water buckets needs to be properly accounted for by Cashley Allers and Terence Michael Drew. The contract for 2,400 houses, which should have been built in 4 years at a cost of $650 million, is shrouded in secrecy, and not one house was built in 2023. So we must ask, are all these programs or projects in Nevis and St. Kitts corrupted, as Dr. Drew said? We must ask that question. And perhaps I'll dispense of these final emails before I make my final wrap, my Straight Dog family. Patches. It is being said, and further investigations will be done to unearth the truth that the wife of a member of parliament is related to one of the principals in the housing company out of Trinidad. Please that email. Good night, Mr. Liburd. Who is the DPP's boss? I thought after the deadline, the next day charges would have been laid. Well, he gave them time to file, and I know time will run out again. The DPP, according to the Constitution, that office is an independent office. But I believe that the commission, or the chair of the commission, has the obligation to send the files to the DPP, if I can respond to that comment. My Straight Dog family, again, I apologize for my late start tonight, and I trust I'm in your good books because I gave you back the time, and I know it's late in some parts of the world, and we thank you for staying with us tonight, my Straight Dog family. And as we discussed earlier, our theme, our thesis, kleptocrats on both sides of the Narrows. And as we wind down, my Straight Dog family, like the caller said earlier, we have to take action and stop ruling by the law and respect the rule of law, my Straight Dog family. We discuss the rule or ruling or rule by thieving. And that word thieving I got from the Prime Minister. He used it in the Parliament, so I'm using it in our Parliament tonight, my Straight Dog family. But as we wrap tonight's programming, we've looked at the kleptocracy on both sides of the Narrows, my Straight Dog family. And as I was saying, not one house was built. And I asked are all these programs or projects in Nevis and St. Kitts corrupted? As the Prime Minister said. We must ask Dr. Drew if all these programs and projects are used to thief money in St. Kitts and Nevis. Terence Michael Drew no doubt speaks from experience. And if that is so, then they are a bunch of kleptocrats on both sides of the narrows. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God in the process for guiding our conversation tonight as always. I want to thank you, the callers, those who sent emails, and those who just listened on my Facebook and or YouTube platform. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. Remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night, my Straight Talk family. And again, I apologize for our late start tonight. But until you connect on Monday, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. And keep moving on. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food